My name is Mia. I am 28 years old. 3 years ago, I lived with a man named Dan. From the outside, my life looked perfect. We had a big, beautiful house. We ate dinner at nice restaurants. Dan was handsome, and he had a good job that paid him a lot of money. He bought me new clothes almost every week. He brought me flowers for no reason at all. He told me again and again that he loved me. My friends always said, "Mia, you are so lucky." Even my mother liked him. She told me, "Dan is a good man. Hold on to him." For a long time, I believed all of it. I believed I was lucky. I believed I was happy. But there was a part of my life that nobody saw. Dan made every rule in our house. If I wanted to see my friends, he said no. If I wanted to drink coffee with them on a Saturday, he said, "Why do you need friends? You have me. Isn't that enough?" At first, I thought this was love. I thought he just wanted to be close to me. But slowly, I understood something different. Dan did not want me to have a life outside of him. He looked at my phone every day. He read my messages before I could even open them. He asked me, "Who called you? What did you talk about? Why did that message take so long?" I never did anything wrong. I never lied to him. But every time he asked these questions, I felt a heavy weight in my chest, as if I had done something terrible, even when I had not. One small thing brought me real joy: baking. I loved the smell of warm dough in the morning, the soft sound of the oven, the way flour covered my hands like soft snow. I baked cakes for my friends' birthdays, and they always said my bread was the best they had ever eaten. Quietly, I had a dream. I wanted to open my own small bread shop one day. A tiny shop with wooden shelves and the smell of fresh bread on the street outside. It was not a big dream. It was a simple dream. But it was mine. One evening, I finally told Dan about it. My hands shook a little as I spoke, because this dream felt like a piece of my heart. I said, "Dan, I want to open a small bread shop." He laughed. Not a kind laugh. A laugh that made me feel very small. He said, "That's cute, Mia. But it's not a real job. I already have money. You don't need to work." Something inside me broke quietly, without any sound. My dream, which had felt so warm in my heart, suddenly felt foolish. I said nothing back. I walked to our bedroom, closed the door, and cried softly into my pillow so he would not hear me. Time passed, but the sadness did not go away. Every day felt heavier than the last. I could not see my friends freely. I could not breathe without someone watching me. One night, after a long, tired argument, I finally said the words that had been sitting in my throat for months. "This is not love, Dan. I am not free here. I feel like a bird locked in a small box." His face turned cold and hard. He said, "You can leave if you want, but you will have nothing without me. You need me." For a second, fear filled my whole body, but somewhere inside me, a small, brave voice spoke louder than the fear. I said, "No, I am leaving." That night, I packed only one bag. I put in a few clothes, my old books, and the small notebook where I drew pictures of my future bread shop. I left everything else: the new clothes, the flowers, the big house with its cold, beautiful rooms. Walking out of that house was one of the hardest things I had ever done. My heart hurt so much that it was hard to breathe. I cried during the whole taxi ride to my new home, a small, cheap room with old walls and a tiny bed. But even with all that pain, something quiet inside me whispered that I had done the right thing. I found a new job soon after, in a small office that made pictures for different companies. The pay was not very good, but the job was calm and quiet. Nobody asked me personal questions there. Nobody looked through my phone. For the first time in a long while, nobody was watching me. I told myself that love only brought pain, so it was better to stay alone. A whole year passed this way. I came to work at 9. I left at 5. I ate my lunch quietly at my desk, far from everyone else. My life had become small, but at least it was peaceful. And after everything I had been through, peace felt like enough. Then, one ordinary Monday morning, everything changed. My boss walked in with a new man beside him. "Everyone, this is our new worker," he said. "He will be working with us from today." I looked up from my computer, and my whole body went cold. It was Dan. Dan was standing right there, in my office. How was this possible? Why was he here? I stood up so fast that my chair almost fell. I walked straight to the bathroom, my legs shaking. My hands turned icy cold. Inside the bathroom, I locked the door and sat down on the floor, trying to breathe. How did he find me? I stayed there for almost 10 minutes, my heart pounding in my ears. When I came back, I would not look in his direction. I kept my eyes on my computer the whole day. At lunchtime, I stayed at my desk instead of going to the lunchroom because I could hear his voice across the office. The day felt like the longest day of my life. Finally, at 5 o'clock, people started leaving. I packed my bag fast, hoping to get out before he could speak to me, but then he walked over to my desk. I looked up, my heart aching again. He said, "Hello." His voice was different from what I remembered. It was soft and gentle, nothing like Dan's loud, demanding voice. I said nothing, just stared at him. He continued, "I'm Sam. I'm the new worker here. My desk is over there, by the window." My mind could not understand. Sam? Not Dan? I finally said, "I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else." He gave me a small smile, though it looked a little sad. "I understand," he said. "A lot of people make that mistake. You must know my brother. You know Dan." My mouth fell open. I could not speak for a moment. Then I whispered, "Brother? Dan has a brother?" Sam nodded. "Yes. We are twins. We look the same on the outside. But Dan never talks about me. I think he believes I am not as good as him." I studied his face. He had Dan's exact eyes, Dan's exact nose, Dan's exact mouth. It was like looking at a mirror from my past. But something about him felt different, even though I could not name it yet. His eyes did not feel cold like Dan's eyes. His voice did not feel hard like Dan's voice. Sam said quietly, "I'm sorry if I frightened you. I will stay away from your desk if that's easier." I told him, "No, it's okay. I just didn't know he had a brother." He smiled a little and said, "Okay, good night, Mia." Then he picked up his bag and left. I sat there for a long time after he left, trying to understand. Dan had a twin brother, and in 2 whole years together, he never once mentioned him. That night, lying awake, I could not stop thinking about Sam's face. It was Dan's face, The same face I had once loved deeply, the same face that later hurt me so badly. Just looking at Sam brought back painful memories. That face had lied to me. That face had made me feel small. But this was not Dan. This was Sam, a different person wearing the same face. The next morning, Sam was at his desk as before. "Good morning, Mia," he said. "Good morning," I answered, but I kept my distance and stayed focused on my work. Looking at his face still brought a sharp pain to my chest. Day after day, the same pattern repeated. He said, "Good morning," I answered, and that was all. I wanted to forget the pain Dan had caused me, but Sam's familiar face kept reminding me of everything I was trying to leave behind. So I stayed polite, but I stayed away. About 2 weeks later, I had a hard day at work. My boss was upset because I had made a mistake on a picture for a big client. He came to my desk and said loudly, in front of everyone, "Mia, this isn't good enough. Fix it now." My face burned with shame. I felt tears forming, but I held them back. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "I'll fix it." After he walked away, I sat there feeling completely defeated. I needed to redo the whole project. Everyone else left by 5, but I stayed to finish the work. I typed and fixed images for hours, until my eyes grew tired and my back ached. By 7, the office had gone quiet, almost everyone gone home. I thought I was alone. Dan had always made me feel small, and now my boss had done the same. I started to wonder if I was simply bad at everything. Then I noticed a cup on the corner of my desk, a cup of tea, still warm, with steam rising gently. I looked up and saw Sam at his own desk, his eyes on his screen, working quietly. He had not said a word. He had simply placed the tea there and gone back to his work, expecting nothing in return. In that small moment, I understood something. Sam knew what I needed. He understood that sometimes people need silence more than words. Dan had never understood that about me. Dan always needed to talk, even when his words caused pain. I drank the warm tea slowly, and for the first time that whole hard day, I felt a little better. The next week, I caught a bad cold. My head pounded, and my nose was completely blocked, but I went to work anyway. Sam walked past my desk, then stopped and looked at me. "You don't look well," he said. "Are you sick?" I said weakly. "I'm fine. I can work." He said, "Wait here," and disappeared. A few minutes later, he came back with a bottle of water and some small white pills. He set them on my desk. "Take these, and please go home and rest, Mia. The work can wait. Your health matters more than this." I looked at the medicine, then at him, feeling something warm move quietly in my chest. Dan had never treated me this way when I was sick. He used to say, "Just rest in the bedroom. I have work to finish. Don't bother me." He always said his work mattered more than my comfort. But here was Sam, telling me my health mattered more than any deadline. "Thank you, Sam," I said. He smiled gently. "It's nothing. I hope you feel better." I took the medicine, drank the water, and went home to rest. The next day, I felt much better. After that, I began to notice Sam more. Not in a romantic way at first, just noticing small things about how differently he moved through the world. One afternoon, while eating lunch at my desk, I opened my small notebook where I sometimes drew pictures. That day, I had drawn a tiny bread shop, my secret dream. I had drawn the door, the windows, and above the entrance, the words Mia's Bread. It was just a small, maybe silly dream that I rarely showed to anyone. Sam walked past and noticed the open notebook. He stopped and asked gently, "That's a nice drawing. What is it?" I put my hand over the page quickly. "It's nothing. Just a silly dream," I said. "May I see?" he asked softly. After a moment, I moved my hand. He looked carefully and said, "A bread shop. That's a wonderful dream. You're a good artist too. This looks almost real." I said, "It's just a dream, not anything practical." He looked at me and said, "Why not? You already know how to bake. You know how to draw. You could make this real. There's nothing silly about it. It's a good dream." I searched his eyes for any sign of mockery, but found none. Dan had laughed at this same dream, calling it cute but not real. Sam was telling me, sincerely, that my dream was good. That whole night, I thought about both brothers. They had the same face, the same eyes, the same nose, the same mouth, but they felt like completely different people. When Dan looked at me, his eyes always felt cold, and I felt small. When he spoke, I felt worse about myself. But Sam's eyes carried real warmth. When he looked at me, I felt fine, just as I was. The face was the same, but the person behind it was not. A month passed peacefully this way. Then, one Thursday afternoon, something troubling happened. Sam's phone rang at his desk. He answered, and I heard him say, "Hello, Dan." My body went cold. I listened as he continued, "Yes, I work here now." A pause. "Yes, she works here too." My heart raced. Dan now knew I worked with his brother. "No, it's not like that," Sam said firmly. "We just work together." Another pause. Then his voice grew sharp. "Dan, stop. You need to stop." He set down the phone, looking troubled, and glanced at me. "I'm sorry, Mia," he said quietly. "It's fine," I answered, though deep inside, I knew it was not fine at all. What would Dan do now? The next day, a Friday, started normally. I worked quietly while Sam worked nearby. Then, exactly at lunchtime, the office door swung open. Dan walked in, his face twisted with anger. He marched to my desk. "Mia, we need to talk," he said loudly. I stood up. "What are you doing here?" He stepped close and grabbed my arm. His grip was hard. It hurt. "What do you think you're doing? Why are you with him? With my own brother?" I tried to pull free, but his hand would not let go. Sam stood up fast and came toward us. "Let go of her, Dan," he said firmly. Dan turned and laughed, a cold, mean laugh. "Oh, this is funny," he sneered. "You lost me, Mia, so you found him instead? My sad little brother? You found yourself a copy of me?" Those words made me feel sick. I looked at Dan's angry face, then at Sam's worried one. The same face, on two different men. My mind spun. Did I love Sam, or only his familiar face? Was I just trying to get Dan back? Had I made some terrible mistake? Sam stepped between us, shielding me. "This has nothing to do with you anymore, Dan," he said. "This is about Mia. You hurt her, again and again. I won't let you hurt her again. Leave now." Dan's face turned red with rage. "You'll be sorry, Mia. Very sorry." Then he turned and stormed out, slamming the door. The office fell silent. Everyone stared at us. I felt ashamed and overwhelmed. Sam looked at me, worried. "Are you okay?" he asked. But I was not okay. My whole body felt cold. My hands trembled. Dan's words echoed in my mind. A copy of me. Was there truth in those cruel words? Had I just wanted Dan back, using Sam's face as a substitute? I looked at Sam and said quietly, "Maybe he's right." Sam looked confused. "What do you mean?" I said, "Maybe I've been using you. Maybe I only see his face when I look at you. I'm sorry, Sam. I need time to think." His face fell, full of hurt. "Mia, wait," he said. But I had already grabbed my bag and walked away, not looking back. I walked home fast, then collapsed on my bed and cried for what felt like hours. Did I love Sam, or only his comforting face? I had no clear answer. Sam was kind and good, but he had Dan's exact face, the face I had once loved, the face that had hurt me so badly. Had I made a mistake? Had I hurt Sam for nothing? I remembered his hurt expression when I walked away. I had hurt him, though I never meant to. But fear had taken over my mind in that moment. What if Dan was right? What if I could not tell the two brothers apart? I stayed awake the whole night, turning these questions over and over in my tired mind. My head hurt, and my heart hurt more. What did I really want? Who did I really see when I looked at Sam? The next day was Saturday, and I stayed home, unable to find any peace. I paced around my small apartment, unable to quiet my racing thoughts. Finally, I took out my notebook and a pen, hoping to find some clarity in honest words. I wrote simply, "With Dan." I paused, then continued. My heart always raced fast with Dan. Yes, that's true. But that was not love. It was fear. I always felt anxious. I wondered, did I say something wrong? Does he still love me? Will he get angry? I never felt free. I always felt small. I could not breathe around him. Reading these words, I knew they were true. Then I wrote, "With Sam." I thought about the tea he brought me, the medicine and water when I was sick, his kind words about my dream. I wrote, "My heart feels calm with Sam. It doesn't race. It beats slowly and quietly. I am not afraid around him. He listens. He waits. He gave me tea when I was sad and medicine when I was sick. He said my dream was good. I can be myself with him. I can be simple, and he thinks simple is good. I can breathe. I feel safe." I read these words again and again, and slowly, clarity came. I had loved Dan's handsome face once, yes, but that face was like a mask. Behind it was nothing real. No kindness, no love, only cold words, rigid rules, and pain. Sam had the same face, but for Sam, the face was just a face. What mattered was his heart, his kind and caring heart. Behind Sam's face was something warm, a safe home. I had not fallen in love with a face. I had fallen in love with a heart. Dan was right about one thing. He and Sam had the same face, but he was wrong about everything else. I had not found a copy of Dan. I had found his opposite. Someone kind, someone good, someone who made me feel safe. I was not using Sam. I was not trying to get Dan back. I saw only Sam, never Dan again. I loved Sam, not his face, but him, his heart, his kindness, the way he listened, the way he cared, the way he made me feel like enough, just as I was. That Monday morning, I woke early, while it was still dark outside. I could not sleep, so I got up and walked to my small kitchen. I opened the cupboard and found flour, sugar, eggs, and butter. I decided to bake just one small muffin, using my favorite recipe from the notebook that held my secret dream. I mixed the flour and sugar, added the eggs, then the butter, blending it all together. I put it in a small tin and placed it in the oven. The warm, sweet smell filled my kitchen. It smelled like comfort, like home, like my dream coming alive. I took the muffin out, golden brown on top, soft inside. I let it cool, then put it in a small white box tied with string. I got dressed and looked in the mirror. My hands shook a little, and my heart beat fast. But I was not afraid anymore. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew exactly who I wanted. I took the box and left my apartment. I walked to the office, breathing the cool morning air. The sun was rising, painting the sky pink and orange. I climbed the stairs and opened the door. Only a few people had arrived. I did not wait. I walked straight to Sam's desk. He was already there, staring at his screen, his face tired, his eyes a little sad, maybe from a sleepless night like mine. He heard my steps and looked up. His eyes widened with surprise. Maybe he thought I would not come back. I walked to his desk and set the small white box in front of him without a word. He looked at the box, then at me, waiting. I opened it, and the warm smell of the muffin rose between us. He looked at it, then at me again, his eyes full of questions he did not ask. "I'm not afraid anymore," I finally said. "Afraid of what?" he asked softly. His voice was gentle, just as it had always been. "I'm not afraid of Dan," I said. "Not afraid of the past, not afraid of the pain, and not afraid to be happy." I took a breath. "I see you, Sam. Only you. Not him, not his face. Just you. Your heart. Your kindness. You." Sam rose slowly from his chair, saying nothing, just looking at me. His eyes turned warm. Then he reached out and took my hand. His hand was warm and gentle, nothing like Dan's hard grip. I looked at our joined hands, then at his face. The same face as Dan's, yet so different now. I no longer saw Dan when I looked at him. I saw only Sam. That evening, after work, Sam asked me to get coffee at a small cafe near the office. We sat by the window and talked softly about simple things, childhood memories, small hopes, and, gently, my dream of one day opening a bread shop. He listened to every word, his eyes warm the whole time. When our cups were empty, we walked slowly along the quiet street, the lights coming on above us, neither of us wanting to say goodnight yet. We stopped near a small park where the evening air felt cool against my skin. Sam turned to me, his face serious but soft. "Mia," he said quietly, "these past weeks with you, even with all the confusion, have been the happiest weeks I've had in a long time." My heart fluttered, and I smiled without meaning to. "Honestly, Sam," I said, "I feel the same way." We stood there quietly, looking at each other, and the world around us seemed to grow still. Then, slowly, Sam leaned closer. I did not pull away. I leaned in too, meeting him halfway. His lips touched mine softly, gently, like a question rather than a demand. The kiss was warm and tender, nothing rushed about it at all. In that quiet moment, something inside me settled, like a key turning in a lock that had been stuck for years. All my fear, all my doubt, all the cold memories of Dan seemed to melt quietly away. That kiss did not feel like Dan's face. It felt entirely like Sam. It felt like safety. It felt like peace. It felt like coming home. When we finally stepped back, Sam smiled, his eyes shining in the soft evening light. "I've wanted to do that for a long time," he whispered. I laughed softly, happy for the first time in years. "I'm glad you finally did," I said. We walked home slowly, his warm hand holding mine the whole way. That single kiss changed something deep inside me. It was not just a romantic beginning. It was my own healing, my own quiet courage, my own hope returning after years of fear. In the months that followed, Sam stayed patient and kind. He encouraged my bread shop dream, and we even looked at small shops together on quiet weekend afternoons. We baked bread in my tiny kitchen, flour on our hands, laughter filling the small room. I slowly rebuilt friendships I had lost during my years with Dan. I learned something important through all of this. Love was never about a face, no matter how handsome or familiar it looked. Real love was about a person's heart, their actions, and how safe and free they made you feel. Dan's face had once fooled me, hiding coldness behind handsome features. Sam's same face showed something completely different: warmth, patience, and kindness. The very face that once caused me pain became, through Sam, the face that led me back to happiness. That kiss under the soft evening light changed me forever, not because it was romantic, but because it was trust returning to my wounded heart. It was hope quietly winning over years of fear. It was finally learning the difference between a face and the heart behind it. Today, when I see Sam's face, the same face that once belonged only to painful memories, I see something different and beautiful. I see kindness. I see safety. I see someone who waited patiently for me to heal before ever asking for my heart. I see my home. And every time he smiles at me, I remember that quiet kiss that changed everything in my life. The kiss that taught me love was never about a face, but always about the heart hidden behind it.